education?
To learn,
To learn?
doing your work, and listening to what your teacher says and doing your assignments.
Okay.
It's gonna help you for your future, and I want to get a good future, so I'll say I want to go to college.
I believe the purpose of education is to help kids find their drive to success and help them into whatever field that they desire to be in. It also shows that there are bumpy roads, but with the right help, for teachers' example, you can succeed no problem.
I feel the purpose of education is developing the minds of children and young adults to be able to contribute and better society, better the lives for themselves in the future. Anywhere from building creativity, diversity, creating inspiration so that they can just build a better path and a better life for themselves and their future families.
The purpose of education, I would say, is to give children a well-rounded view of the world, and to teach them things that that they need to know, but that also things that just that are meaningful and relevant.
It's a big question, but I think the purpose of education as far as our office is concerned, and as far as kind of when we look at it from a global perspective, is to teach students to become independent learners so they can go out and into the world and advocate for themselves, so they can have a broad perspective of of kind of what is going on in the world, from not just through their own lens, but through, lenses of others that they've met along the way, and to not be afraid to ask questions when they don't know something, to speak up, to continue to want to learn, and to be a lifelong learner.
To teach.
Nice.
To teach you stuff that you don't know, like division, multiplication, and stuff that you haven't learned in the past couple years.
Nice.
To teach people to learn.
To correct us and help us learn things that we don't know.
The role of the teacher is to create creative, innovative, well-rounded individuals who can contribute to society later in life.
The role of the teacher is pretty broad, and the role of the teacher is to really manage behaviors, first and foremost. And then you can get into teaching, but also to be a role model for kids. It's the most important thing, is to be their role model, to teach, to their deficits, and try to, be positive and bringing out their and highlight, the things that they're doing that are great, and always stay on the positive and have fun. Really, that's the role of a teacher, I think, is to try to put all those things together in the day, every day.
Have 3 recesses every day.
3?
Okay. The changes that I hope to see in American education, first I think should start with the lower grades, specifically with pre-K and kindergarten, because I feel that there is too much of an emphasis on their academic standing rather than their social standing. And so I believe that as very young students, they need to get acclimated socially to first, what being a student consists of. And then as they work up into the higher levels of education, they should focus on their academic standing.
The American education system needs complete overhaul, and I don't know how it would really begin and end, but what it needs is it needs to have funding that is predictable funding and sustainable funding that keeps class sizes low and gives teachers a salary that is a livable salary, and I would say what is necessary to overhaul, or what we need to do to change American education is to treat it as if it's any other profession, rather than based on just simply taxpayers resources. It needs to be more a sure thing of funding. Really, it's basically boils down to that, to funding.
This started innocuously. When my kids were in middle school, I got an email from the school saying, we're having a session next week explaining to you what we're doing to teach your children important life skills. And as a parent, that's irresistible. But that was the essence of the communication. Teach your kids important life skills. And if it had been more descriptive, I wouldn't be here today. But because it was so concise and so vague, I spent a week saying, what will they cover? What, in fact, should schools be doing to teach kids important skills that are useful in life? And I started making my list. And my list included things that were skills, like inventive problem solving, or communication, or teamwork, or figuring out complex situations, or characteristics and character traits, like determination and perseverance and resourcefulness, being able to stand up to failure, being bold, or appreciating the wonder in nature and human achievement. Or capabilities we all need, like setting bold goals for yourself, learning how to learn, being able to persevere through difficulties, finding your passion and purpose in life, and figuring out how you can make your world better.
Recess.
Recess.
Recess and recess lunch.
PE.
My favorite part of at school, playing outside and playing soccer. Okay, my favorite part about school is reading groups and playing outside.
The problem is to remain an artist as we grow up. You don't grow into creativity, you grow out of it. I feel our education system does a poor job of promoting creativity. It is too busy focusing on creating proficient test takers who lack the ability to use their imagination.
Start with the student, not the subject or classes. I chose this quote because I feel that it's very important to first know the student, whereas we tend to start with the subject or classes before even meeting the basic need of the student and how they learn and their way of understanding the material to begin with.
Allowing the entire community to play an active role in determining the values of their school serves two purposes. First, it will create more buy-in from students because everyone is more eager to participate in something they have had a hand in creating. Second, and even more importantly, our students know more about what it is like to be a kid or adolescent in today's world than we teachers do. I would agree with this quote just because the fact that the second reason, kids know how to be kids and they understand how it is in life rather than a teacher who just plays more of a role of a coach and leads by example and inspires.
Picasso once said this. He said that all children are born artists. The problem is to remain an artist as we grow up. I believe this passionately, that we don't grow into creativity, we grow out of it. Or rather, we get educated out of it. So why is this? I lived in Stratford-on-Avon until about 5 years ago. In fact, we moved from Stratford to Los Angeles. So you can imagine what a seamless transition, this was from LA. Actually, we lived in a place called Snitterfield, just outside Stratford, which is where Shakespeare's father was born. Are you struck by a new thought? I was. You don't think of Shakespeare having a father, do you? Do you? Because you don't think of Shakespeare being a child, do you? Shakespeare being 7. I never thought of it. I mean, he was 7 at some point. He was in somebody's English class, wasn't he? Do you understand? Little principles on which we're educating our children. There was a wonderful quote by Jonas Salk, who said, if all the insects were to disappear from the Earth, within 50 years, all life on Earth would end. If all human beings disappeared from the Earth, within 50 years, all forms of life would flourish. And he's right. What TED celebrates is the gift of the human imagination. We have to be careful now that we use this gift wisely and that we avert some of the scenarios that we've talked about. And the only way we'll do it is by seeing our creative capacities for the richness they are and seeing our children for the hope that they are. And our task is to educate their whole being so they can face this future. By the way, we may not see this future, but they will. And our job is to help them make something of it. Thank you very much.
Bravo. Yeah.
Carol Schwartz mentions in her TED Talk and journal that every child deserves an excellent education. Every child deserves to feel cared about and heard. That starts by finding out what our students wished we knew. And I really think that that is important and that more classrooms should take in consideration of that, because oftentimes we don't realize our students' mental capacity. And so when we give them a chance to tell us what they wish we knew as educators, it becomes really impactful and we learn a lot from them, because we don't realize how much they think and how much they know. So I conducted that project in my classroom where I asked them to tell the educators what they wish we knew, and here's how it turned out.
Truthfully, Subiel is a great place to receive education. Great atmosphere. McMinnville is amazing, and I think all teachers here do their job excellent. I mean, Cruz here, he's out here. Peyton, he does his thing, and Rain just threw that jack. I don't know why. Are you ready for summer?
Yes.
My favorite part of school is the same as these kids, recess. I like to take naps, play Fortnite, do my thing.